Okay, there's more sunlight today, which is nice. It's getting really busy too. Everyone trying to get last minute photos with all the cherry blossoms and stuff. Oh, that man, what did I read today? How about this one was kind of interesting? You read a lot of news about using aerial drones where criminals are trying to transport things like weapons and drugs. But how about this one in terms of using water drones per se and trying to make them go from the US, for example, all the way to Europe? It says an underwater drone to take drugs to Europe, Michigan's link to the cocaine torpedo operation. Wow, that sounds like one sophisticated bust, I guess you could say. It says officials outlined a cocaine torpedo operation that involved plans to use underwater drones to ship drugs to Europe. The scheme was operating out of Metro Detroit. After a 12-week trial, Yil Didani was convicted by a federal jury on May 16, 2025 on charges of conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine, conspiracy to distribute cocaine on a vessel, and money laundering conspiracy. I know obviously criminals make a lot of money selling drugs and so forth, but it's always crazy to hear the actual figure. Like here, it says the person was part of this massive organization that trafficked things like cocaine worth $100 million globally. And in terms of the plan in general, I suppose, it says here, federal officials claim Didani led the organization while another member oversaw the design of an underwater drone that could transport large shipments of cocaine to Europe. Prosecutors called it a cocaine torpedo. Didani and a co-conspirator allegedly planned and paid for the construction of a submersible container designed to attach to the hull of a cargo ship. Feds said the drone would be equipped with an underwater modem and GPS antenna. When the ship would arrive at its destination, the cocaine drone would be remotely released from the container ship and picked up by a fishing boat controlled by the organization. And get this, it says a Canadian firm was reportedly hired to design a prototype, though the company was told the device was intended for ship hull scrubbing. Well, it's kind of interesting because if companies are innocent in this regard, it reminds me of other devices that you could buy where obviously the main market of it is for people to use it for illegal purposes, but in general companies can say that's not what the intent was for in general. So do companies have responsibilities to try to make sure their products aren't being used in an illegal way, or should that just be up to the buyers? For example, it's all on you. And according to this, the guy has a history per se in terms of criminal activity and all that, but I guess it's one of those things where if it just feels like a slap in the wrist when it comes to the punishment, then it's worth it for a lot of people just to commit the crime to make all that money. And this is kind of interesting as there's a lot of places obviously that are trying to sanction one another when it comes to acquiring things like drones. But how about this one? This one says Libya's Haftar acquires combat drones despite UN embargo. Satellite images reveal at least 3 new drones at an eastern airbase. Weapons experts say they are most likely from China and Turkey. Eastern Libya's military leader Khalifa Haftar has acquired what appears to be Chinese and Turkish combat drones. Reuters reporting has found, despite a long-standing UN embargo on supplying weapons to the divided North African country, commercial satellite images show at least 3 drones at Al Qadim Air Base located in the desert about 100 kilometers east of the city of Benghazi between late April and December. Their arrival has not previously been reported. Unmanned aerial vehicles played a significant role during a 2014 and 2020 civil war in Libya when Haftar's Libyan National Army tried to overthrow the UN-recognized government in Tripoli on the grounds it was harboring armed gangs and terrorists, which it denied. Countries including the United Emirates, Egypt, and Russia provided key backing to Haftar according to UN investigators, while Turkey supported the Tripoli-based administration. China avoided taking sides. Well, it's one of those things. People will always try to find a way, I guess you could say. And this piece of news was going around a lot here, where it generated from a video at an NHL game where people are accusing of some fans of doing things like a Nazi salute. Apparently this happened a while ago, but for some reason, actually, it just came up now in recent times. Like this one here says, NHL investigating after fans appear to make Nazi salute during Maple Leafs Stars game. The NHL is investigating after video showing several fans seemingly making a Nazi salute during a game between the Maple Leafs and Stars in Dallas surfaced on social media this week. The league, the Stars, and the American Airlines Center in Dallas reportedly are looking into the incident, which occurred during a game between Dallas and Toronto on December 21st, 2025. Yeah, so again, it happened a while ago, but for some reason it's just circulating now and going viral. You can see the video yourself. Like, what would you think in this case? Do you think they're making a quote Nazi salute, or was it something else? Because I know in recent times too, when it came to this topic, actually, a lot of times people seemed like they were just nitpicking when people weren't actually doing it. It just looks like it. It's kind of like taking out of context, I guess you could say. And then people are trying to find, let's just say, similar types of hand waves and all that from people on various sides of, I guess, the world to say, well, hey, look, if you're going to condemn this guy for doing this, you got to condemn them as well. I don't know. Like, what would you think in this case? Do you think it's, quote, a Nazi salute in general? Oh, it's one of those things too, as I mentioned last time, when it comes to sports, it should be something that brings people together through competitiveness, but it just seems like it's gotten so political over the past couple of years, huh? No hobby is safe, it seems like. Alright, see you guys later.